They were 9.5-point favorites over Miami on New Year's Eve, but that was before the Canes blew into Dallas, and Ohio State's repeat bid ended before the ball dropped to start 2026. Good morning. Happy New Year, everybody. This is Unsportsmanlike. We're on ESPN Radio. We're on ESPN2. We're on ESPNU. I'm Aaron Goldhammer, Courtney Cronin, in for Evan, Canty, and Michelle. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Court is live in New York City, where I think she just got into the studio from the giant party at Times Square, where Cane fan Courtney was going crazy and jumping up and down. Had to be a memorable night. Give us a lay of the land, what things were like there with you and Seacrest hanging out in Times Square last night.
Yeah, you know, I actually lost my invite in the mail to do the Rockin' New Year's Eve in Times Square.
I thought you and Rita Ora. I thought they wanted Bears insight on New Year's Rockin' Eve.
You know, I think it was because next year, my invite's going to not get lost in the mail next year. But let me tell you, so I was thinking coming back to New York yesterday from Chicago that it was going to be pandemonium and I wouldn't be able to move around and that you couldn't get through Manhattan.
Yeah.
Where I'm at, south of Times Square, you would have no clue that there's anything going on outside of the fact that when I left my hotel to come to the studio today, there were people just coming in their New Year's garb and their little 2026 hats and the glasses and all of that. But
at 4:30 in the morning?
I mean, Aaron, it's New Year's. People stay out. This is a one day a year. A lot of people go out. And I did not make it to see the ball drop last night. I went to sleep, or so I thought I was going to sleep after that incredible Miami-Ohio State back and forth affair, the late ditch effort from Ohio State that came up short. And then the fire alarm started going off in my room every 15 minutes. So I don't know how much I would have slept last night, how much I got in total. I probably have enough sleep in my stores right now that you would think I would have gone out on New Year's Eve.
Well, fire alarm problems on New Year's Eve at a New York hotel. I don't know that I'd ever stay, Courtney, in that hotel again. I would say they dropped the ball, and Courtney, guess what? So did Ohio State.
They did.
Is the bigger story here this morning, Courtney, Ohio State playing their worst game of the year and the best team going out in the quarterfinals? Or should we start with Miami because they played so well? I thought they played their game of the year on the other side of it.
I would say we would start with Miami because of that reason alone, that they were 9.5-point underdogs, and they came through in a huge way yesterday. Carson Beck played incredible football. The run game worked. Their defense was ferocious. But this is a national championship winner from a year ago, a team that had 20-plus days off to prepare for this game as one of the top 4 seeds in the college football playoff. And they came out like that. Yeah. They allowed a pick six early in the game to ruin everything for them in a game where the conservative play calling, because for whatever reason, Ryan Day felt that he needed to take play calling away from Brian Hartline, who will become USF's next head coach at some point here once Ohio State season is over. So I would imagine that'll probably be Monday. He will be flying to South Florida or to Tampa to begin his career. But he was going to be with the team the entire way on a national championship run. I don't know why all of a sudden you decide now is the time to switch up play calling duties. So that was incredibly concerning. And they didn't have any fight. The fight that I did not see from someone like Julian Sayin, I don't want to say it looked like they quit, but it didn't look like they had any juice once they get down 14-0 because they were so stunned that, hey, this has not happened to us in about 2 years where we've been trailing by 2 touchdowns. Right. They didn't know how to act. Yeah. So to me, that's the biggest story of the day. How did Ohio State, one of the best teams in college football, a team that just won a national championship, how did they show up like that?
Courtney, it's amazing. They couldn't block to start this game at all. And so while you could sit there and make a case about the fancy wide receivers that the Buckeyes have, Jeremiah Smith had a great game. I thought there were stretches of that first half, especially after the pick six, where Julian Sayin, who is a Heisman Trophy finalist, I thought he looked completely shook in the pocket. I thought he was Sam Darnold with the Jets. I thought he was seeing ghosts. Ruben Bain is going to be a top 5 draft pick. Maybe based on that game alone, Courtney, he dominated the line of scrimmage. I thought Miami was flying around. I thought they were hitting much harder than Ohio State. I thought they were playing at a different pace than Ohio State was. And then ultimately, when you look at the game as a whole, even when the Buckeyes started to fight back a little bit to start the third quarter, I thought that Miami played better on offense. They ran the ball like crazy. They came up with the last drive when they really needed it to prevent the Buckeyes from getting one more opportunity. I thought Miami's defense was better with the sacks and the pressure, and you talked about scoring, the pick six. And then I thought Miami's special teams was a major factor in this game. They downed a punt inside the 1. They made a 50-yard field goal. So that's what happens. I think Miami dominated all 3 phases of the game. And frankly, this was a 10-point game that I don't even know if it was really that close. I thought the Buckeyes didn't just lose. I thought they got completely dominated on the line of scrimmage, which when you spend the amount of money that the Buckeyes spend to get every offensive and defensive lineman, it's pretty unacceptable in Columbus to have a game. Look, to lose is one thing. Mm-hmm. To get dominated up front like that is – Ohio State's got to take a serious look again at the whole Lou Holtz. You remember the Lou Holtz controversy?
Yeah.
The
Ryan Day had some choice words for old Lou Holtz after all that.
That's right. The Buckeyes have got great wide receivers, but – I don't know that wide receiver university is how you consistently win at the highest level, which when the Buckeyes are spending what they're spending in NIL is exactly what their fans expect them to do.
What have we seen from Ohio State the last 2 games that they played? Julian Sayin was sacked 6 times going into the Big Ten championship game against Indiana.
Yep.
And then Indiana's defense, that pass rush, which is one of the best in college football. It's not to the level of Miami's pass rush, but that defense had absolutely no trouble getting through that offensive line and getting Julian Sayin on the ground, nearly double his amount of his season total going into that point. Last night, I feel like those defensive linemen had something to prove and to play with because they had heard the chatter. Oh, you guys are a 9.5-point dog. This game isn't even going to be close. I think we were talking about that a little bit yesterday on Unsportsman, like what we were expecting
of how
lopsided it was supposed to be.
How do you expect to beat Ohio State, right? You know, I mean, that was the you don't belong, right? In the college football playoff was a big conversation around Miami. And I thought Mario Cristobal had them ready. I thought Ohio State made some great adjustments. But down 14-0 at halftime to a team that's pretty darn good like the Canes, ultimately it was too big of a deficit, right? I mean, they just, as much as they put themselves in position, they had the ball down 1 score once to have a chance to come back and take the lead and really make this interesting. There was a point in the fourth quarter where I thought Ohio State might be able to pull it out and win, but then Miami's pass rush jumped right back, and I just think – I think they were underrated. I think Ohio State was overrated. Courtney, they don't play an SEC schedule in Columbus. And so the wins against Penn State and Wisconsin and Rutgers and Maryland, those are kind of misleading, are they not? I mean, I think after watching this game, we all knew Indiana was the best team in the Big Ten, not just because you're an alum and you're wearing the sweatshirt, but I think it's pretty clear now that Indiana, start to finish, they weren't ranked number 1 until the end, but they were the best team in the conference this year, hands down.
Yeah, the reason Ohio State got the benefit of the doubt for staying number 1 as long as they did is because they didn't give the committee or any of the voters any reason to move them out of the top spot. Like, it was the byproduct of an early win over Texas. Well, we know what that Texas team looks like now, and the win that they had over Michigan yesterday, yeah, they rebounded. But they went through some serious ups and downs in the season where that win didn't feel as big as you went through the season. It was 14-7, and obviously the defensive struggle, but that was a different Arch Manning at that time. It didn't feel like that was the way that we were selling that. Didn't feel like it held up as the season went on. And then the rest of their schedule, I mean, this is what Indiana's gotten flack for a long time. Oh, you don't play anybody. You don't have any hard road tests. Well, Ohio State, that was actually true this year. They didn't have any really hard road tests. They were winning all their games by double digits in these Big Ten games. And you didn't really get to learn how good or not good this team was in clutch moments until you saw yesterday them look stunned when they got down 14-0. The turning point for me, obviously, was that pick six because of when it happened and the fact that this team could not recover. But then, why did it take so long in the second half? Ohio State has that 11-play drive, all based on the play action pass in the run game. How do you neutralize a good pass rush? You run the ball.
Yeah.
It took them until the third quarter. I wonder why. Because they had a new play caller yesterday, and sometimes it takes rhythm to get into calling plays. I put this on Ryan Day. From the preparation of the players to the game plan last night to how conservative it was, and then too little too late, where they're on their heels because Miami goes 4-minute offense at the end. This is on the head coach.
Yeah.
And I'm not at all one of these people who says, we need to start reevaluating Ryan Day at Ohio State. The guy just won you a national championship, but you're in Ohio. You know how Buckeye fans are going to be this morning. This team looked overmatched and underprepared, and that's not usually what you expect from a team that has won this many national championships, that is this involved in the college football playoff every single year, and has this much talent and the most expensive roster in the Big Ten.
Ryan Day's biggest strength, Courtney, is that he wins the games that he's supposed to win. But if you look at the games that he's not supposed to win, generally his team doesn't play great in those. They did finally beat Michigan. But, the national championship run last year, and it should have changed the narrative completely on Ryan Day. But still, this is a coach who lost 4 straight games to the Wolverines and who, before last year, struggled when his team got into the college football playoff as well. Let's take a listen. Ryan Day, post-game press conference, he sort of took a lot of the responsibility. What do you make of this? Here's Ryan Day after the game.
When you have a start the way that we did, you put yourself at risk of having to be really darn near perfect in the second half to go win a game. So we put ourselves behind the 8 ball. We worked really hard during the last 3 weeks leading up to this game to come out of the gates and win the first quarter, win the first half, be ready to go. I thought we had an excellent plan on that, and what we did, I think the guys bought into it, but at the end of the day, we didn't get it done, and that starts with me, and it goes down from there. So, I take responsibility for not getting the guys ready, as you know, we spent an inordinate amount of time putting the plan together to get everybody ready to go play in that first half, and we didn't win the first half. So, we got to figure out why that was and learn from it moving forward.
On Ohio State's first 2 drives, Courtney, they had a 3-and-out and a 4-and-out, both leading to punts. And then on the third drive, they threw a pick 6. So they had 1 first down, and they were down 14-0. They did not get off to the start that Ryan Day anticipated that they would. You can be a part of Unsportsmanlike Nation. What a couple of days in college football. Wow. The Dr. Pepper call-in line is open. Call us at 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. ESPN Nation, presented by Dr. Pepper. It's not college football season without the delicious taste of an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. Courtney, if you can, please show everybody watching on television on ESPN. Cronin in for the crew. We're on ESPN Radio. You can watch us on ESPN2.